Reignite your intuition to show to grow your intuitive self. Today I talk about Morocco with mother. Or something else? Check it out. My name is Angela and I'm a highly intuitive person by birth. What makes me the expert in supporting you regaining your intuition? As a psychic life coach, it is my passion to support people by becoming themselves. Trusting fully your intuition takes time and is a very individual process. I share with you my knowledge and hands-on strategies that I have developed to support you in your daily lifestyle. Well, I was supposed to go on a trip with my mom this year. She invited me for my 40th birthday and her 70th birthday because she was exactly 30 years old when she gave birth to me. Actually, she was not. She was 29 when she gave birth to me, but in the same year she turned 30 when she gave birth to me. So yeah, okay. So our difference in numbers is 30 years. And as due to this whole pandemic thing, we were not able to leave. I thought of what shall I do, because I already scheduled the title and everything, and then I was like, wait a second. Yes, you're gonna talk about mothers, but you skip the Morocco part, but you don't skip the whole thing because it's how it is. And by the way, we will go there next year. It's just moved 1 year, which have a lot of things, to be honest. So, well, I must admit, my relationship with my mother is not always what it's supposed to be, or what I thought it is supposed to be, because we were facing differences, and we still do, but much less than before. And I experienced in my work and in my job that that's something that a lot of us do. And one of the main things is, what do we expect? What are our expectations? And we always expect what we think is what's normal. And we don't think about the other person. And between mothers and children, this can become a huge difference. For example, if we look back, let's go back to 1940. In Europe, women were superheroes because their husbands were at war. These women had to manage their families, and when these men came home, if they came home, most of them had an illness because they saw things people should not see, they experienced things you should not experience, and they were not the same person as the person that has left. Back then you did not get divorced, and if you got divorced you really had something. So they had to be more stronger than they were supposed to, and they had to build up parts that they're not made for. Or actually, I wouldn't say they're not made for, is the wrong use of words. It's more, they had to become more male and be less female, and they hoped unconsciously to become back to be more woman when their husbands are back. Those guys were broken. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of people were broken after the war. And these very strong women gave birth, or these very strong teenagers as well, when they get older, gave birth to new daughters. And in the 50s it was said, you have to bring your husband the house shoes, you have to make dinner ready, and you have to make sure that this guy, when he's coming home, is feeling perfectly fine. And by the way, if you want to go to work, bitch, you have to ask your husband. And no, you're not going to have a bank account. And oh yeah, do you earn money? It's not going to happen. Do you get any money from others? It's your husband's money. And that's the point. So in the 50s it was like, hey, you have to be a good wife. As we call the hippies, they are totally opposite and free love and da. But this all happened in such a short time. This change, this just never went into the cells deeply. It was just one extreme and then the other extreme. Hello, we need to process things. So my mother's generation, as I call them, are pretty hard. because they went through so many things so quickly. They learned to become hard women, and they learned to be independent, and they learned to trust only on themselves, because that's what they learned from their mothers. That's nothing good or bad, that's just how I experience it in my work. Because their mothers showed them that your father is not strong enough. And it's very interesting that the daughters took it over, because it takes 7 generations to get rid of this old school stuff. And later on, after my mother's generation became, let's say, 30, 40, so in the 80s or so, we became really much more relaxed. And due to the fact that they had to learn to bite, to be strong, they taught themselves to stand their man instead of being a woman. And the emotions were something weak. And the ability to hug someone just because became very hard to really live, because emotions were a weakness. And that's what they get taught through the 2 wars and the whole generation thing going on. So now imagine my generation. We had books like Pippi Langstrumpf, Pippi Longstocking. We had from Astrid Lindgren, the Children from Bullerbü and everything, all that stuff that was very warm and huggy and family and here and there. And that's what I expected, because I had these expectations. They'll be like, you have this like perfect picture, perfect mom, which is impossible to serve, by the way. This picture is impossible to serve. My mom is a very, very loving mom in her way. I'm a very loving person in my way. You are a very loving person in your way. And now we have to learn to accept that the way I love is not the way that you love, and that I don't have to expect you to love me the way that I love. You love the way you are, and I have to learn, or I have to accept that it's different. That doesn't mean that it's better or worse. And I think that's a very interesting topic, especially between mothers and daughters, because very often we have this issue. And I mean, with we is like we humans. I had to learn that my mother loves me as much as she can, her way. And that's not good or bad, that's how it is. And I cannot expect, not my mother, not my father, not my brother, not my family, not my friends, to love me the way that I love them. As well as they can't expect me to love them the way that they want me to love them. And that's the whole world like this. It's just that between mothers and children, or especially mothers and daughters, you experience it or you observe it the most. You don't observe it that often between boys and mothers most of the time, or fathers and boys. They have the same topic, by the way, but they just don't show it as open, because they learn to hide, or they learn this absolutely ridiculous, super stupid sentence that I hate: boys don't cry. Crying is healthy, crying is healing, so please, everyone who feels like crying, go ahead and do so. You can cry of happiness, you can cry of sadness, both works absolutely awesome. There's no reason not to cry, just zero, nada, nulla. Go ahead, cry, it's healthy. Please do so. Well, so Morocco with mother this year did not happen. Next year it will happen. And then you will have a podcast where we know more about our experiences that we made in Morocco. Right now, we just experience life. What I want to tell you, or what I'd like to show you with this podcast, is however you love, it's your way. However someone else loves, is their way. And if you go back 1, 2, 3 generations, our world had turned so fast and changed so fast in the last, let's say, 100 years. Just give all of us the time that we need to adjust. And everyone has its own pace, and that's totally fine. Important is that you stay in your heart, and that you stay true to your heart, and that you realize there is no black and white. There's tons of colors, millions of colors, and there's always a little bit fairy tale dust. Therefore, I love you the way I can, and I'm thankful that you are here in this world and listening to me. Are you ready for being you, exacting the way you love and others love? Yes? Then go to angelahack.com, work with me, and there you'll find the link to book a 30-minute free call with me, and we will just start to figure out what's best for you. Thank you for listening to Reignite Your Intuition.